So what do you do with the water that just came out of your tap while you're waiting for the hot water to warm up for washing your dishes? Don't throw it away. Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to show you tips and tricks to saving money. Maybe not this kind of money, but I'm just showing you money, paper money and silver, to save money on water. We're going to cover the topic of water, and this is the water that you would use inside your house, not necessarily like bottled water, that sort of thing, but water coming out of your taps, harvesting rainfall, that sort of stuff. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today, tips and tricks on saving money on water. So these are tips and tricks we use to save money on our utilities. In this case, it is water, but these are things we are actively and currently doing in our household. So we hand wash our dishes, and I put in just enough water to cover the bottom of the sink and start washing dishes. Now we have a little competition running that whoever has the least amount of water in the sink by the time they're finished washing dishes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, they get a little treat at the end of the week. It might be a chocolate or a little toy or whatever the case may be, but we have this little sort of rivalry going on. Whoever can get the least amount of water in the sink when they're finished washing dishes, they win for that week. So another technique or trick I usually use this for breakfast dishes other than lunch or dinner because there's less of them, is so another technique I would use to wash dishes when it's just a little bit, mostly with breakfast dishes, I'll do what I call dry washing, which is not really dry. I would say, see that over there, that water that's in that mug? I would use that water to wash the dishes up, and I wouldn't run any more water. I'll wash the dishes with that, with the sponge. It has the detergent in that, and I would wash the dishes up and rinse them and then just put them in the drain without putting any actual water in the sink itself. And that's what we call dry washing. I'll actually wash it with no water other than somebody might have rinsed something, a piece of fruit, or whatever the case, and some water got captured in a mug or a bowl or whatever, and I would use that water to actually wash the dishes, and then I would rinse them with clean water coming out of the tap, and then I'll just put them over here in the drain. And you can capture that water depending on what you're using to wash your dishes, to use for other things. Sometimes we use a dish pan to hand wash dishes, and this is one I just got at the Dollar Tree when they were still $1. I picked up a few of those, and I would just run my water in here and wash dishes right in here, and also rinse right in here. So that's another way to save on washing dishes. Now, if you wash your dishes by running the water constantly, maybe you should use a dishwasher. We have a dishwasher as well. As you can see, it is still brand new. We've never used it. And we like to hand wash our dishes. It just, to me, it saves money the way we wash dishes, either in the sink or with the dish pan. So that's another way you can save money on water. So these next couple of tricks are going to be twofold. It's going to be water and electric. So this is my washer. As you can see, I have it on warm for my water, and it's one of those agitated ones, the ones that had to agitate it in the middle. So I think that gets my clothes a lot cleaner. So I'm saving on water. I'm able to get a bigger load into my washer, and I'm also not using hot water but warm water with my detergent, so that also saves me on actual how many loads I can get done on, say, any specific day. It's not the newest, it's actually quite old, but it works quite well. So another tip is to reduce the loads that you have to do each week is to wear your clothes more than once if you can. So you wash them less so they last longer, and then we do 3 loads 1 week, and then the following week we'll do 4 loads with sheets and towels. So we're stripping our beds every other week, so twice a month or sooner if needed. So the next trick is turning your hot water heater. This is going to be a two-fold as well. The washer was electric and water. This is going to be electric and water as well. You turn it down so it's not as hot. So the temp in your water heater doesn't have to sustain that water in there at a higher temp. And when you go on vacation, mine has a vacation mode. So it's not heating up as often to maintain that higher level of hot water. So this is like a twofold, electric and water. So what do you do with the water that just came out of your tap while you're waiting for the hot water to warm up for washing your dishes? Don't throw it away. I capture it in my basin or my bowl or whatever. I can water my houseplants with it. I can water my garden with it. I can drink it even because it just came out of my tap. I can put it through my water filter and filter it if you're in any way, shape, or form thinking it might not be good for drinking. I can cook with it. There's so many things you can do except for just throwing it down the drain, which is what I would normally do before I started conserving my water like I do. So the next one is kind of water related, and I actually love the smell of this milk and honey soft soap. So I have this brand new refill and I have this empty bottle, and we just emptied this. So what I'm going to do is refill my smaller bottles that I put by each sink. So I'm going to take my brand new refill and I'm going to put half of that into the empty refill bottle and use water. So what I do is I add water to my soft soap. I actually diluted half and half. I started out 2/3 with the actual soft soap and 1/3 water, and then I've gradually gone up to half and half. So I'll do half the soap and half water, and that's how I stretch my hand soap with water. And that leads me to when we wash our hands. I'll show you in a moment. When we actually wash our hands, we're actually using less water in order to wash our hands. So once I add my water, I shake them up, and then I would turn them upside down and just sit them there on the counter for about an hour, and I find that helps them not separate. So we don't run the water constantly when we wash our hands. I actually wet one hand, and then I put half a pump of the soft soap, hand soap, in my hand and rub them together. I'm not running the water at this point. I'm rubbing them together for your happy birthday twice or whatever you go by. And then I rinse my hands off with the water. So now, depending on what kind of soap you use to wash your hands with, you can then decide what you want to do with that water if you capture it in a basin. Now you can, once again, water your houseplants with it, flush your toilet, even water your garden with it. So depending on how you take this step, you can then decide what you want to do with that wastewater. So this next trick I use has to do with our mouthwash. We like Listerine, and it's gotten so expensive. And they're not only changing the size of it, but they've increased the price. So what I've done is I dilute, yes I do, I take hydrogen peroxide and I mix it with my Listerine. So I do a ratio of about 50-50. So 50% mouthwash and 50% of the hydrogen peroxide, which is usually about one bottle, which I can still get for $1. Most places I've gone. So I don't know if it's gone up in recent weeks, but when I did restock at the beginning of the year, it was still $1. So I'm taking my Listerine and I'm mixing it with my peroxide, and it just smells and tastes just like my regular Listerine. So when my bottle's empty, I will half and half my new bottle and make double as much Listerine. And nobody can really tell, and we're using less of it because it will foam more than the original mouthwash will. So another water saving, money saving trick we employ is when we brush our teeth, we don't run the water constantly. We wet our toothbrush, put the toothpaste on, we brush our teeth, and then we just spit into the sink, and when we're finished, we'll rinse at the end. Now we have one, he doesn't like to see the spit in the sink, so we actually give him a cup of water, and when he spits in the sink, he'll wash it down with the cup instead of turning the faucet on. And that's how he gets away with brushing his teeth without running the water constantly. So the next tip or trick to saving money on water is to use a low flow shower head. Now I've seen these for about $25-$30, and I've seen them for $150 or more. This one here is the one we have in the gas bath, main bath, whatever it is, and it works great. It actually, you don't notice it, that you're not getting as much water coming out of the head, because I don't know how they do it, but it seems like the same powerful shower that it was with a traditional shower head, and it works just the same. We just changed out the shower heads, and this one we actually have in the master, and it works great too. It's on a wand. We can take it off if we need to or whatever, but they work great for saving money on water. The next thing we do is with our showers, we do 5-minute showers. Now we bathe every day, but we only shower about 2 or 3 times a week. The rest of the time we either use the tub. You can use, think about it as camping, sort of taking a smaller shower or a smaller bath. The next time you take a shower, if you have a tub shower combination, do the tub like you are getting a bath, but take a shower, and just see how much water you use when you take a shower. And maybe next time try to reduce it by half until you get it right down. We are able to take a 5-minute shower and get everything done. When I wash my hair, I take a 15-minute shower and get everything done. Another thing I do sometimes is straight cold showers. Great for your skin. And think about it, if you're not all warm and cozy in the shower, you're going to get out quicker. So cold showers. So the next thing I suggest is regular maintenance of your shower head. Especially if you have hot water, the calcium and lime buildup on your shower head can greatly reduce the functionality of that shower head. And keeping those holes clear so the water comes out at the right rate, that would be very beneficial to you not staying in the shower for longer than you need to. So my next tip or trick is to collect rainwater. Now I collected this rainwater in this planter by mistake. I was actually getting my garden together and it was going to be windy, so I actually put rocks in this so it wouldn't blow around for that day, and I was going to come back to it the next day, but I didn't get back to it before it started raining. I just left it there. Even in a small apartment, you can collect rainwater, if you have a balcony, of course, as a way to not only grow your own food, but to collect your own rainwater so you can water that garden. And there are so many videos out there that can tell you just how to do that. I don't live in an apartment, but there are ways to do it. So for us, collecting rainwater has been essential for keeping our water bill down, because we have a garden that we need to water. This is one of our water catchments. It's not hooked up because it is still cold here. Literally, it's going to be in the 20s in the next couple of days for a low. And these are some of our other rain collections. I also employ these 33-gallon trash cans during the peak garden season, and I will hook it up to my gutter, my downspout actually, and fill these up. And yes, I will clean them before I hook them up for the gardening season. And with these bins, with these barrels, I actually have 225 gallons of water to use for my garden. And if push comes to shove, yes, we can drink this. Would we normally? No. But if we had to, we could bathe in it. We could do a whole myriad of things with our water, our rain catchment. So push comes to shove, if we had to use one of these plastic little dish pans to wash in, if I filled this up with a couple of inches of water and had to wash in it, could we do that? Probably. But I was thinking, and I looked online, and I found what they're calling animal feeders. 15 gallons, 6 gallons, and 3 gallons. We could definitely use something like this if push comes to shove, where we would need water. Say we were off grid and we only had, say, rainwater to bathe in. Could we do this? Absolutely. I think we could. And what I would do is cleanest to dirtiest. That's what I would do. I would, if we really had to conserve our water intake or water usage, I would do with whoever was cleanest would get the first bath and then go down the line. And I know this sounds crazy, but I think we need to think outside of the box on what we're doing to save money, not only on water, on food, on gas, on electric, whatever our utilities are, in order to reduce our expenditures and reduce our footprint and actually be able to ride the waves, the storm that is coming our way, that seems to be gaining momentum every single day. Every time I hate to turn on, I don't even turn on the TV anymore. I hate to turn on my phone and see what other craziness is going on in this country that I'm living in, because every day it's something new, something worse, something that you have to take on, and it affects you no matter what. Even though you think it doesn't, it does. But anyway, back to the water. This is one way to conserve water if you had to. So do you know what this is? Probably about 3 or 4 years ago, I would just throw this out, basically. And what this is sterile cotton that comes in those medication bottles like Bear aspirin or Advil or painkillers, whatever kind of painkillers that you would have that have cotton in them. I've noticed of recent that they no longer have the cotton in them. I opened up a bottle last night and it had no cotton in it. So I've been saving the sterile cotton and I've been using it for just about everything I would use cotton balls for. And that's one way to save money. I don't have a lot of it left because like I said, it looks like they've stopped putting it in there, and some now have those little desiccant packs in them, but I've saved a bit. I have a few of these bags. This is the one we're working on right now. I have a few of these bags full, and we will be using them up just like we use cotton balls. Another tip to saving money. I would have normally just thrown it away. Okay, so this is my water bill. I tried to cover up my address and their that kind of information, but as you can see, the dates here, those are the dates. This is the date it was due. This tells you how much we are using, and if we go over the 2.0, which is tells you down here how many gallons is 1 unit, so I'm using 2 of these units. So if we go over that, then of course the price increases. If we go under this one, is actually, that's the minimum. So we can use up to 2 for that price. It's going up slightly. I think it was like 25 and change. If I can find one for, maybe not, because I think that these are, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it's a month one. So maybe I'll go back and find March. That's last year. No, I'm not doing that. And that's last year as well. So since January, we've been using consistently 2. But anyway, this tells you how much we are spending on water per month for our family. And this is the lowest it will ever be, because even if we use 1, it's the same. There's like a minimum that they will charge, and if we go over the certain amount, that's when our bill goes up, if that makes sense. So at minimum, this is our bill every month. Okay, so I went back and pulled out an old bill. It's $27.90, as you can see, and I used 1 of those gallon sized units instead of 2 like I showed you in the last bill. And what's funny about this bill is that, I don't know if you can see that, it's not on this one. This one just says billing item number, but it says I use more sewage usage than water usage. I don't know how they manage that. So they're saying what we flush down the sewer is more than the water we bring in. I don't know how they measure this, but it's kind of crazy. It's kind of weird. But yeah, actually it should actually be less because we actually use a lot of our water in our garden. Like I was saying, if I like run the water for the water to get hot to wash the dishes by hand, that water I would use in the houseplants or in the garden, depending on what time of year it is, or different things. But it's just amazing how they figure this out. But anyway, here is a previous bill. Our rate has gone up since then, and that is actually current bill. Why amount 27 due if paid? Okay, so as you can see, no, I don't know. Okay, so I was just trying to figure out exactly why I had three different amounts on this bill. My bill was actually $27.90. I paid $25.11 because I went back to the previous one. I actually paid my late fee. See, that says if paid after the date, $27.60 instead of the $25. Maybe I shouldn't have pulled this bill out. But anyway, last month I overpaid a little bit. That difference of whatever it is from when the date is to the late thing. And it wasn't late. So I got that little bit of a credit, whatever, $2 and whatever it was. That's why it's $25.11, the amount due, instead of the $27.90. So my bill is typically about $27.90 before it went up. Now it's the $28.24. That's what my bill is. So yeah, this is the one from last year, 2024, that usage 1. So it's the same whether I use 1 unit or 2 units. After 2 units, that's when it goes up. Okay, so this is my water bill. I tried to cover up my address and their that kind of information. But as you can see, the dates here, those are the dates. This is the date it was due. This tells you how much we are using, and if we go over the 2.0, which is tells you down here how many gallons is 1 unit. So I'm using 2 of these units. So if we go over that, then of course the price increases. If we go under this one, is actually, that's the minimum. So we can use up to 2 for that price. It's going up slightly. I think it was like 25 and change. If I can find one for, maybe not, because I think that these are, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, it's a month one. So maybe I'll go back and find March. That's last year. No, I'm not doing that. And that's last year as well. So since January, we've been using consistently 2. But anyway, this tells you how much we are spending on water per month for our family. And this is the lowest it will ever be, because even if we use 1, it's the same. There's like a minimum that they will charge, and if we go over the certain amount, that's when our bill goes up, if that makes sense. So at minimum, this is our bill every month. So I just wanted to make a correction, and I also want to say that we are doing this. It's not just something we are making a list of and we're telling you, or we're giving you these tips and tricks. We are actually living this day in and day out. But the correction is, on my sewer, I said that they are actually they charge us for more sewer. They're actually saying we use more sewer than we do water. And I was saying that sometimes I would take that water and water my houseplants or water my garden and whatnot. But actually, we're being charged more for our sewer. So it looks like we're using more for our sewer than we are for our water. And we're actually not. We're actually using the same, but the rate for the sewer is more. And that's why I want to show you our utility bills as we go along with this series. And just to show you that we are actually walking this walk and not just talking the talk. So that's why I'm showing you our actual bills at the end of each of these utility savings tips and tricks videos. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe and click that notification bell to be notified when I upload videos. God bless, and remember, stay safe and keep prepping.